What is up, guys? Bringing you another art tutorial for the second time today, as the first time did not record correctly. That's always super fun, so hopefully it goes a little better this time. I wanted to show you how to draw stairs today. Stairs can be kind of a more complex shape to draw, and it builds perfectly into what we've already talked about today, or so far, with one-point perspective. So, in order to get this set up, as in our other tutorials, we're going to start by pulling up single point perspective mode in Sketchbook. And I'm going to pull our dot over to the side so that we're working with this area off to the side of our dot. Really, this technique works for wherever you have it. It doesn't matter, but just for the sake of convenience, that's how we're going to do it today. And I'm going to pull out one of my favorite tools. Actually, that's not it. Where is my Micron tool? Should be around here somewhere. I say it's my favorite and then I don't know where it is. See, this is kind of the problem that you run into when you download too many brush palettes. It gets kind of hard to keep track of all of them. There it is. Let's see, make sure. Okay, so we might want to zoom in a bit more in order to see everything. Or, you know what, let's just change the canvas size. I don't need it that big. Alright, let's work with that. Hey, look, you can see the line. That's perfect. Alright, so we're going to start by drawing a square. Not the most exciting thing in the world. It gets better. And unfortunately, I haven't figured out how to draw measurements yet with Sketchbook. Maybe there's a way to do it really easy, but for now I'm going to cheat and I'm just going to lay my actual ruler across Sketchbook, and I'm just going to make marks every 2 centimeters. And I'm going to do a total of 4 steps. Obviously, staircases will usually have more than that, but you'll get the point of what I'm trying to get across with 4 steps. Just going to clean up these lines a little bit, make them go all the way across, because these are going to be the foundation of our stairs. So these are important to have looking good. Alright, turn off perspective mode real quick. Grab an eraser, clean up our square shape a little bit, turn back on perspective mode, and now we're going to draw lines going from what is going to be the bottom of our step over to our vanishing point, from the top of our bottom step over to the vanishing point, from the top of our second step over to the vanishing point. And bet you can't guess what we're going to do next. Alright, so now we've got a plane that now extends back into the three-dimensional space. We're going to finish this off by just putting a back to it. Alright. Now I'm going to switch to a new layer just so that you can see everything that I'm doing in this next bit. and I'm going to switch to a nice bright red so that you can see I'm going to add in the back of our cube shape. So really nothing too fancy here. Let's see. Alright, and let's grab our eraser real quick, turn off perspective mode, do a little bit of cleanup there. Now, we're going to pull out the ruler tool. I'm going to stay in this bright red color for the rest of these construction lines, and we're going to cut our cube in half diagonally. This might seem very familiar from one of the first art tutorials that we did on this channel. So we now have a ramp drawn in perspective. If we were to erase these black lines in front of it, that's what we would get. We would have a ramp. Now, our first step is already pretty much constructed here. It's implied by the lines that already exist. I'll switch to a larger micron pen, and we'll switch back to black, go back into perspective mode, and we're just going to put in a thicker outline on everything. And you know what? Let's actually get a larger pen. Let's actually get a nice brush. Oh, said nice brush. Alright, there we go. Nice dark line, easy to see on the screen. There. So as I'm putting in these outlines, you can really start to see the shape that is implied for our step. Now it gets a little interesting here because the top, and especially because I picked a very thick brush to work with, the top is very narrow, which is kind of a good thing because it tells us that we are getting that 3D illusion, but it does make getting the next part a little more difficult. We'll see that more when we get higher up on the steps. For right now, we can still see the red line enough that we know that we just need to go up from here. We go up to the line here, and we go back, and then we pull our line across, and that finishes up our second step. The problem that we will eventually run into, though, is it's going to get harder and harder to see where exactly we are supposed to put the line going up from that red line. So let's keep this going. We'll go another step. Alright, now this is where we really start to see that problem coming out. You might think that you just draw the line up from here. However, that makes that step slightly wider than it should be because there is part of a plane here that we can't see that makes up the top of the step below this top step here. So really, this line, this vertical line, should be either more over here or more over here. Now there's a really simple way to figure that out, and I'm going to go back to layer 1 so that it kind of stays away from our step. All we got to do is take this line, drop it down, pull it across to the side, and then bring it back up. Now you'll see that it's a subtle change, but it did move more to the left compared to where we had it before. Where we had it before was more about there. It's a very small difference, but depending on the type of drawing that you're doing, it will be more noticeable, and we want to have it as correct as we can get it. So now if we hide layer 1, and we'll turn off perspective mode, switch to an eraser, do some cleanup, we're pretty much done with our staircase. At this point, now that you have the construction done, if you're going to turn this into a finished piece, you go in and you start adding values. So let's do a little bit of that right now. And we'll just grab the fill tool, and actually we should probably connect these lines before we try to do that. Otherwise it will make a mess. There we go. Now let's grab our fill tool, and here, that's embarrassing. I have to erase more of my construction lines before I can do that. And trying to do things quick, it gets sloppy, which is obviously not good. Alright, whatever. There, flight of stairs. To keep this going, the same technique applies. If you're doing single point perspective, you can make your initial rectangle taller. You can put more steps in there and make them smaller. Really, you can do a lot of things to get different types of stairs, different appearances to them. But I hope you found this tutorial useful. Let me know in the comments what you'd like me to cover next. And I'd love to see anything that you decide to make with this technique. Anyways, this is Odd Job Entertainment signing off.